I'm really looking forward to seeing, indigenous ambassadors at the UN having a say in government and state matters.
This is the Go Maluku podcast.
This new social contract, let's say Indigenous peoples are sitting at home watching this, and they're trying to get their minds right, or they're trying to understand what this whole new social contract is. How can this new social contract best support Indigenous peoples and their plight towards peace and development?
I'll let María Fernanda go.
Okay. I think that the contribution of Indigenous peoples to a culture of peace is so critical. And when we speak about different forms of violence, it is not only conflict related, it is not armed conflict, it is structural violence of exclusion, of discrimination, of rights and human rights deficit. And I think that when we're talking about this new social contract, it is about understanding, about solidarity, about cooperation, about truly building a culture of peace. And basically, I think that peace is a precondition for societies that are more equal in that live in harmony. And sometimes when we're asked what comes first, what comes first? You need to build a culture of peace in order to narrow the multiple inequalities gap. What comes first? And I think that they all come together. A true culture of peace comes with a world that is more equal, more democratic, more inclusive, more pluricultural and intergenerational. And at the same time, I think that there is no possibilities of a culturally sensitive, sustainable development if we do not operate, decide, interact in an environment of harmony and mutual respect. And here I'm thinking about the dozens and dozens of indigenous human rights defenders that are being killed in so many parts of the world. And I think that this is something that in this new world, in this new social contract cannot happen. And of course, there is this, if you look at conflicts around the world, unfortunately, what we see is that conflicts over access and control of natural resources, of strategic resources, and you name it, water, the impacts of climate change, of the biodiversity extinction crisis, issues of hunger and food sovereignty and food security, I really have profound impacts in the building of peaceful societies. And again, I think that inclusion, participation, respectful and horizontal dialogue, democratic institutions, inclusive institutions, including the United Nations, is a precondition for building peaceful and sustainable societies. And once again, the voice and agency of Indigenous peoples is not only a precondition, but it's much needed. It is much needed. I cannot think about a better world in the future without the voice, the intellect, the creativity that Indigenous peoples bring to the table. And again, not only on Indigenous peoples matters, but in world matters, in the way to overcome the current multiple crises that we have described many times today, but no possibilities of achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, the 2030 Agenda, including SDG number 16 on peace, justice, and strong institutions without the voice, the agency of Indigenous peoples. And here, I know that there are conflicting views on the political participation and engagement of Indigenous peoples. And I hear and I respect, of course, this point of view saying Indigenous peoples should devote their time to be, intellectuals, to be scientists, but they should not get into politics. And I think that unfortunately, power and the redistribution of power is critical. And the redistribution of political power is even more critical. And I am a full supporter of an active engagement in politics of Indigenous leaders worldwide, and the space for Indigenous women to be in positions of power. And I think that if we are talking about redistribution of power balance, the building of democratic institutions, I think we need to be serious about political participation. Political leaders at the local level, in Indigenous mayors, we had a big wave of Indigenous mayors that made the difference, but Indigenous representatives in parliaments, in governments, Indigenous representatives. I'm really looking forward to seeing, Indigenous ambassadors at the UN having a say in government and state matters. So I think that we should aim at that. And of course, I fully respect, because there's a whole, view that it shouldn't happen. But I think politics is a very hard world and environment. I can tell you firsthand, especially when you're a woman, it's very difficult. It's taxing. But it is needed. I think that it's something that we need to consider seriously, especially for the younger generation of Indigenous leaders worldwide. And I think we will have the chance, Ghazali, to have a few final words, but just to respond to your question, and I'm really looking forward to listening what James has to say on this particular issue.
Yeah, please, James, go ahead.
Yeah, I do believe a new social contract, and I think it's almost self-evident, it can support peace and development if it's based on respect and promotion of widely recognized human rights, and including the human rights of Indigenous peoples, as articulated in documents like the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Human rights, justice is a precondition for genuine peace and for the development, and that is a principle that I think has been widely understood. Going back to at least the UN Charter. The UN Charter itself envisions a global order and social orders within countries, based on equality and respect for human rights and self-determination of peoples. And of course, that's made explicit in the initial articles of the UN Charter and its founding purposes and principles. A world order and social orders based on respect for equality, human rights, and self-determinations of peoples. And I would extend that to self-determination of Indigenous peoples. Without respect for these rights, there can be no real peace. There will always be instability. History has shown us that. Current developments have shown us that. And there can be no genuine development, because development, when we talk about development, it is development with respect for human rights, the very term and understanding of what we mean by development. So I do think that what the Secretary General is advancing, this notion of a new social contract, based on new arrangements that not only address the pressing issues of today, but do so on the basis of embedded values, the rights that are respected, can be conducive to peace and development more broadly, and indeed is essential if we're going to have genuine peace and development.
My friends, I hope you enjoyed this. Please consider to subscribe, to comment, and to share this video on your socials.